here on Monday, September 8th. And pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 that were amended on March 28th of 2025, Maura Healey signed into law an act extending pandemic-related authorizations related to public meetings, allowing remote participation options for public bodies through June 30th of 2027. So this meeting of the Select Board here on September 8th, 2025 will be conducted via remote participation of the board. And I'm going to grant permission to Westwood Media Center to record the meeting and to anyone else who wishes to record the meeting. And okay. Good. Go right into the chair's update. And going to begin with a reminder about the special town election that is being held tomorrow, Tuesday, September 9th. And everyone will be voting at Westwood High School in the gymnasium, all 5 precincts. And the polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And this includes a single ballot question for a debt exclusion override to fund the construction of a new Fire Station 1. The debt inclusion is meant to finance specific project through a fixed term borrowing. And once the bond of the project is paid off, the associated tax increase for that project goes away. And, we get together tonight on the eve of this special election. And this is a very important decision regarding our town's future with respect to FS1. Now, in my opinion, there's no question that the station needs to be replaced. That's been pretty much a universal truth in every conversation I've had with any resident, whether they are for or against the proposed project. However, as I think about the timing of this election, I can't help think about what it should mean for all of us. Because just 2 days after the election, we'll mark the 24th anniversary of 9/11. The day will be commemorated by moments of silence, ringing of bells, and American flags. I'm sure people will honk as they drive by firehouses all across America. That day holds an additional place in my heart for another reason. In the hours, the days, the weeks that followed 9/11, we were united like nothing I'd ever experienced in this country in my life before. We were kinder, more patient, and we granted more grace. We were not going to let the terrorists who committed the heinous acts of that day tear us down. We were going to show them our strength in our unity and our kindness towards one another. Fast forward to today, 24 years, and we're certainly more divisive than we've ever been in my lifetime. Now, we all agree that a new station is needed. Everyone proclaims support for the WFD, Westwood Fire Department. Yet there is a great deal of angst over the cost of the project that's causing unnecessary division in the community. From where I sit, the foundation of that is fear and exhaustion. People have expressed tax exhaustion at every level of government, federal, state, local. Others have expressed fear over uncertainty related to the job market, whether they face cuts due to AI or federal research funding cuts, or possible disruption to business based on global trade practices and tariffs. Local decisions like the one we're facing tomorrow are the one place people feel they can stand up and have greater control and impact. I get it. We have looked at the options. We developed and recommended a plan based on the needs of the fire department for public safety today and for the next 50 to 70 years. This is the right project. Now is the right time. No is certainly one potential outcome, but what will that really achieve? It will not solve the problem at hand. It will only increase the risks and the costs associated with the current facility. The need would remain, and it would need to be addressed. It certainly will not result in a cheaper option. The delays and the design will only increase in cost. Now, your local tax dollars, those are the one place they show up working for you every day. Whether you send your kids to Westwood Public Schools, where they're instructed by fabulous educators. Whether you pick up the phone and you call 911 and responders are there within seconds. Or you wake on a snowy day and your well-paved roads are plowed and cleared. So on this 24th eve of 9/11, I urge unity and neighborly support for the building of FS1. It's the building we need. And a very heartfelt thanks to all of you, Westwood firefighters. I know that's something we can all universally agree on. Next in the chair's update is Westwood Day, another thing that should bring us together. And that'll be held on Saturday, September 20th. There will be fireworks held on Friday evening on the 19th, with events kicking off at Flay Field. Though there is no football game this year, the fireworks will begin, Tish, I believe you said at 9 p.m.?
8 o'clock.
Or so, 8 o'clock. 8 p.m. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
On Saturday, September 20th, the actual Westwood Day, we kick off with a 9 a.m. fun run, a 5K fun run. And then at 10 o'clock, or I'm sorry, the 9 a.m. is the 5K run. The 10 a.m. fun run begins. And then from 10 to 3, the vendor village will be open in the Westwood High School parking lot with entertainment and other activities such as the roaming railroad and the lawn games. Now, again, we are ever looking for volunteers to hold this event. If you can, please volunteer and visit the Westwood Day page on the town website. You can volunteer for up to 2.5 3-hour shifts, and you can choose the area in which you'd like to help. Every volunteer will receive a t-shirt. We need volunteers for a number of areas, including the food court to assist with wiping tables, monitoring trash, and keeping tables and chairs clean. We will certainly need some help at the entertainment stage to help load and unload equipment. We need help at the welcome tent to help greet attendees and provide information. We could use some bracelet makers. The roaming railroad will need some monitors for the safe loading and unloading of passengers. And the lawn games and bubbles, we need folks to help manage the lines and the bubble making supplies. And then finally, and this is one where we tend to run out of volunteers, is we need folks to help clean up after the event. The folks at the Recreation Department end up bearing a huge brunt on this, and we thank them in advance for all their hard work leading into this event and hope that folks will help across the board where we need you. And finally, in the chair's update, if you have not already seen, there is a survey out for all residents on the qualities that you want to see in our next town administrator. You can find the survey on the Westwood Town Hall homepage, and paper copies are also available at the town clerk's office. The survey has been open since August 30th and remains open until this Saturday, September 13th. Molly, is there anything you'd like to add with respect to that survey?
No, not at this time.
Okay. And that is my chair's update. I will now turn it over to you, Molly, for the town administrator update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 2 updates for tonight. First, I'm happy to report that the Washington Street paving project has been completed. The remaining work, including striping and crosswalk painting, will follow shortly in the coming weeks. I'd like to thank MassDOT for funding this project, and a special thanks to the Westwood DPW, who applied for the grant that paid for the project and of course oversaw it. The second update I have, as you mentioned, this Thursday is September 11th. There'll be a remembrance ceremony at Fire Station 1, located at 637 High Street, that will begin at 8:30 a.m. on Thursday.
All right, thank you. We will now move into public participation, and I will just remind folks of the guidelines. Each of our select board meetings will include a public comment period following the chair and town administrator updates, unless it's otherwise noted during the chair's update. During that period of public comment, residents will be allowed to participate in one of 2 ways. You can speak live by using the raised hand function in the Zoom functionality, and you can ultimately be unmuted to be able to speak live. You can also submit comments or questions using the Zoom Q&A function. Either way, you must identify yourself by stating your full name and address, whether you're speaking that or whether you're putting that into the Q&A. And each speaker, whether we are reading your questions in the Q&A or having you unmuted, will be a maximum of 3 minutes. Now, we will not be responding to these questions at this time, but we will listen to all comments and questions and concerns raised by the public. When we do have public hearings, those same rules will apply, but we will keep any answers to those questions during the public hearing agenda item only. So with that, I will open it to any public participation, whether there are comments or questions. And we'll give this a few minutes. I am not seeing anything in the Q&A. Are you, Tish? No, I see no hands raised. I think we will give this another 2 minutes or so, max. Again, to participate, you can put a question into the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom screen, or you can raise your hand also at the bottom of the Zoom screen to be unmuted to allow to speak your question or comment. All right. Seeing that there are no questions in the Q&A or hands raised, we are going to move now to scheduled action. And our first item on the agenda for scheduled action is the Interfaith Mini Walk for Hunger on October 26th. And I see we have Gail Mann, who's attending here. And Gail, would you like to walk us through the event, and we will consider your request? Oh, you're on mute, Gail.
Oh, do you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for listening to me. We've been doing this event through the temple now to benefit Project Bread for, I think this will be our 16th year. And basically what we do is we assemble at the temple. This year, we're starting it a little bit earlier. In the past, it's been at 2 o'clock. This year, we're going with 12 in order to maybe accommodate more people and more of the local churches and temples get out sooner. So we're hoping to maximize that. We meet at the temple at 12, and then we do a 3-mile walk. It's been along the same route that it has been for about 16 years, and I did submit a copy of the route to you. I hope you have it there because I'm on vacation. Okay, good. And I don't have it here. It's a simple route.
For the benefit of folks, I'll just let you know it proceeds down Pond Street, takes a left onto Oak, and then through the Sycamore, Alder, Fensview, Martha Jones neighborhoods. And it has been reviewed by the Public Safety Police Detail. So I just wanted to let people know where the walk was if they haven't been on one of the 16 prior.
And I hope you will all join. It's a wonderful event, and it, as I said before, it does benefit Project Bread, but the other thing it does is it brings the entire community together. You know, the different churches and non-affiliated people, and it's a lovely, it's just a lovely event. I don't know if you have any questions for me.
I will turn to my colleagues to ask if either of you have questions.
I do not. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
I don't have any either, Rob, other than it's a fun time.
Excellent. All right, well then I would entertain a motion.
I'd be happy to, Rob. For the select board to approve the Interfaith Mini Walk Hunger for Sunday, October 26th, to start at Temple Beth David at 12 p.m. this year and proceed on a 3-mile walk via the proposed route contingent upon final approval from the public safety and the health departments.
I second that.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Joe?
I
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Gail, hope to see you on the 26th. I'll be coming in from out of town that day, but I will try to make sure I get here by noon.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your consideration.
Hope you have a wonderful, hot, beautiful day like we have today.
Thank you. Me too.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have an emergency access easement for 25 Fox Meadow Drive and 300 Fox Hill Street. I believe Elijah Romulus, our town planner, is here to take us through this particular item. Elijah, welcome.
Good evening, Select Board, and thank you for having me. So yes, I am before you this evening presenting the granting of easements related to an emergency access and utility easement. This is for the Fox Meadow Estates. It was previously called Captain's Crossing. The subdivision was approved in August 10th of 2004. There was a condition in that subdivision that the emergency access that followed a 20-foot wide, what was referred to as a cart path on the plan, but it crossed 3 different parcels, mainly on 2 parcels being what is now 300 Fox Hill Street and 25 Fox Meadow Lane. With that emergency access, the condition spelled out that it needed to come before the board if it were ever to be modified in any fashion, come before the planning board, and ultimately would be the select board in granting any easements. The applicant for 25 Fox Meadow Lane had come before us in January this year. They had proposed a approval not required an A&R plan to modify the land between them and 300 Fox Hill Street. With that, it did not only modify the emergency access, but we found that the grant of easement was not recorded ultimately with the previous subdivision approval. And so we went through the process with the applicant to ensure that they maintain a access path. And really this is to make sure that in the case of an emergency, fire apparatus is able to make it from the Fox Hill Street onto the rest of the Fox Meadow Estates. And so we conferred with the applicant's engineer to ensure that whatever path they modify would be able to maintain a fire apparatus. We spoke with the fire department to make sure that they were aware and were all right with the modification. And ultimately, we were able to come to an agreement that allowed for the planning board to approve the not only the subdivision modification, but the A&R application to allow for the the proponents to swap their land and make that emergency access change. And so I'm coming before the select board tonight, and part of the process is not only does the A&R plan have to be recorded, but the applicant has provided 2 grants of easements for the select board to vote on, and ultimately allow for the use of that path.
Okay. And this has been obviously reviewed at length by the planning board and has their endorsement. Do I have any questions from either of my colleagues on this matter?
Not for me.
I'm good, thanks, Rob.
Excellent. I would entertain a motion.
I think we're good. I'd be happy to make a motion, Rob, for the select board to accept and sign 2 grants of emergency access easements for 25 Fox Meadow Drive and 300 Fox Hill Street. This request results from the June 17th, 2025 and July 8th, 2025 planning board approval, not required review and endorsement that modified the location of the emergency access easement within Fox Meadow Estates subdivision.
I second that.
Okay, we will do a roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Mary Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Thank you, Elijah, for being here. And is this Trish, is this one we have to wet sign, or it is?
Yes.
It is, okay.
Notarize, so. I'll send an email out this week and we'll get together. Hopefully
Mr.
this,
Mr. Chairman, I spoke to the Registry of Deeds about wet signs, and they are very insistent upon wet signatures.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm sure that we can all make it over to town hall at some point this week to be able to sign. So any urgency in terms of when that needs to be filed, Elijah?
At your earliest convenience, but there's no urgency.
Thank you very much then. Okay, we will move on to the next item of our agenda, which is the acceptance of a grant for the Massachusetts Council on Aging. And I believe Lina is probably here, and I know I've seen Rachel as well in the waiting area.
and we have Danielle Sutton as well.
And hello, Danielle. Good to see you. Hey, Lina.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So, give us a little background on this grant and what it means to be a dementia-friendly town.
I'm gonna turn it over to Rachel, who I think is gonna be the best person to lead this off.
Thank
Well,
you.
first of all, hello, everyone. This is my first select board meeting, so would just like to introduce myself. I'm the social worker at the Westwood Council on Aging, and I've been there for almost a year. It'll be a year at the end of October. So we're very excited about this grant. The Mass Council on Aging, they do grants every year, and this one was for dementia-friendly Westwood, which there are 160 dementia-friendly municipalities in Massachusetts out of the 351 that we have in the state. So we would like to become one of those, and really it's to expand programs and resources for older adults with dementia and their caregivers and their families. And then also to train, to offer training for residents and town employees, and just enhance accessibility in the community spaces for people that do have dementia. Dementia can, be in all various stages. So not everyone with dementia is, in a nursing home. There's a lot of people that are, in early stages and middle stages that are still a very vibrant part of our community. So it's, $8,000, and it's a cost reimbursement grant. So we pay the upfront, and then we submit them for the the bills for reimbursement, and then they reimburse us.
And what types of things, Rachel, are allowable to be reimbursed under this program?
Well, I mean, anything we can do, we can hire people, but that's capped at 30%. So whoever we pay, like if we pay a trainer or something like that, that has to be only 30% of our total budget. But we could do things like signage, making things more accessible to people with dementia. Sometimes it's just making simpler things in a simpler language. And then, offering, if we, like, for example, we're going to be having a meeting with our Westwood team that's going to be coming up on the 24th, and we will have, some refreshments and things like that for people, materials for people to take home with them when we, when we have our programs and things like that. For example, like if we were to have a caregiver support program, something to that effect.
Okay. And, I know that sometimes the reach of something like dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that, it seems like every one of us knows someone who has been touched by something like this. Where can someone who is just had a family member learn of a diagnosis turn to get some help and some information?
Well, I mean, certainly, the council in Westwood is certainly a place that someone can turn to if they, if they need to sort of explore a lot of different options. But I always turn people to the Alzheimer's Association, because they don't just deal with Alzheimer's, they deal with all forms of dementia. And they have excellent resources. And, we actually use them quite a bit for some of our educational programs that we have at the center. And they just have excellent, well-trained people. So that's probably the first place I would refer people to.
Thank you very much, Rachel. I will turn to my colleagues, Mary and Joe. Do either of you have questions, comments that you'd like to ask Rachel?
I have a comment, if I may. Rachel, thank you for that presentation. Thank you, Lina. I'm thrilled that we're getting this grant. I'm thrilled that we're getting the designation as dementia friendly, but I also want to point out and underscore what Rachel just said, which is that even before this designation, our COA is dementia friendly, and they have been, and they provide a wealth of resources for folks, whether you have an elderly parent or a spouse who's going through this. They are there for you, and they are dementia friendly. And I encourage you to reach out to them. And I salute you, Lina, Rachel, and the whole team at the COA for the invaluable work you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marianne.
And Rob, I was just going to say, I'm certainly at an advantage over you and Marianne because of my age, because I get to receive the excellent newsletter that the team up there puts out every month on the resources and programs that they put on. It's just, this is just another example of the great programs they put on, the great team they have there. So I think this is wonderful, and please keep up the good work. And Rachel, you have slid into this position like a hand in a glove. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Joe.
And just one final question. And so it sounds like it's a reimbursement-based program. Are there any other requirements from a spending standpoint that are tied to this program down the line to receive this designation?
No, just to make sure that we're, accounting for everything that we are spending, and that we're, we're completing the action plan that we've, that we wrote up, which we're already doing. It, as Marianne said, we're already doing most of it, but just to enhance what we're already doing.
Excellent. Well, I can tell you that one of the best parts of this job is accepting grant monies to allow programs like this to continue to expand. So with that, I would entertain a motion.
I'd be happy to, I make a motion for the select board to accept the Massachusetts Councils of Aging, MCOA grant of $8,000.
And I second that.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Joe,
Aye.
Mary Ann,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Rachel, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you also. Danielle, thank you.
Good night, folks. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
I have a feeling, though, Danielle is staying with us here as we turn to our next agenda item, which has to do with the national opioid settlements. Danielle, I believe you were at a recent meeting regarding this. So can you give us an update on where this stands?
I sure can. I'll let Molly start us off, and then I have some more details to tell you what we've been doing with the funds to date and what we plan to do going forward.
Very good. Molly, take it away.
All right. So as you may recall, Westwood participated in the settlements with CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, and others. And those settlements were part of the ongoing effort to remediate the effects of the opioid crisis with providing up to $720 million in abatement funding. Because Massachusetts has opted into these agreements, municipalities, including Westwoods, are eligible to receive a portion of those available funds. The town of Westwood has received notice regarding 2 additional opioid settlement initiatives. The Mass Attorney General's office has agreed to join a settlement with Purdue Pharma and its owners, the Sackler family, and a separate set of settlements with 8 opioid manufacturers that I'm not going to try to pronounce. So I'm going to turn it over to Danielle, the town's Human Services Director, to discuss how they've been and plan to be used to supplement prevention, harm reduction, treatment, and recovery programs. So Danielle, take it away.
Thanks so much, Molly, and thanks everyone for having me here. So all of you here would remember that, as Molly said, the town has been involved in these opioid settlements. Westwood opted in at the beginning, and we have opted into all available opioid settlements to date through the AGO's office, the Attorney General's office of Massachusetts. So as a result, we've received a bit over $250,000 in opioid settlement funds. And we began spending those funds in 2024. And so far, a portion has been used. I'm going to list out the things that we've used it for so far, and I can answer questions along the way or at the end. But some of the things that we've done with the portion that we've spent is we purchased a new sharps container. That was the first thing we did. And that was really spearheaded by our health director, Jared Orsini, who noted and recommended that we purchase the new sharps container because the one we had wasn't accessible. So if you were in a wheelchair, you couldn't reach the place where you would put the sharps in to the box. And also the box wouldn't accept what they call like home receptacles. So there's receptacles that you can purchase at different CVS and Walgreens and places like that, kind of the red rectangular receptacle that sharps can go in. But also an accessible sharps container will allow you to put in things like a detergent container where you might have put sharps in. So if someone isn't able to get to the store or to purchase the kind of formal container, this will accept things from home that are safe for the people to dispose of them and safe for the people who are picking up the sharps. So that's an example of a relatively small expenditure that is based around harm reduction. So that was the first thing that we did. And we also were able to contract with a consultant, Amanda Decker of Bright Solutions Consulting. So she is amazing and a super experienced substance misuse prevention specialist. And her work is to go into communities and help them begin to build up their prevention efforts. So we were able to use a bit of that opioid money to have Amanda come in. She held community stakeholder focus groups. She's helped us, and continues to help us reestablish Westwood Cares, which is a community group made up of folks from the town, the school, residents, community, faith communities, and stakeholders throughout the town to come together and talk about and make plans around prevention and education around substances. She's also been instrumental in helping us to apply for the federal drug-free communities grant. And that is a very competitive 10-year grant that you can get through the federal government. It's actually through the CDC. And it provides $125,000 a year. And that money is typically spent by a community to hire a prevention specialist like Amanda to work in the town for those 10 years really doing all the legwork of building up efforts in the town around prevention. So Westwood has not applied for that grant before, and with Amanda's help, we were able to apply this past spring of 2025, and we'll find out later this fall if we received funding. There are 50 communities across the entire United States who are going to receive it this year. So competition is very high, but if you get it, you're able to proceed within a few months. The funding comes to you and you're able to proceed in using it. If you don't get it, you're able to reapply year after year with feedback and comments about what you could do to strengthen your application. So we look forward to what's going to come next on that front. And we're so thankful that we were able to use the opioid money to bring Amanda in and help us to get a firmer footing here. We were also able to use opioid money to fund the 2025 Metro West Adolescent Health Survey. And so that is a survey that is given to all students in grades 7 through 12 in a community. And it's very comprehensive. It covers not just substance use, but it also covers things like nutrition and sleep habits and media use and car safety and things like that for young people in grades 7 through 12. And it then gives you a whole picture of your data for those different grades and places where your community might have unmet needs or might need to focus their prevention efforts, and areas where maybe things are improving or you are seeing, oh, like regionally, or in comparison to the nation, we're quite strong in this area. And so that data is super helpful and able to be used by the schools and by the town as they determine programming going forward. So we were able to use opioid funds to pay for that survey. That will be done this fall. And then we had a grant to do it in 2023 for the first time in Westwood. So the goal is that you do it every 2 years, so you have comparative data and a picture over time. So we're very happy to be able to have a stable funding source to continue that important data collection. And we really want to thank our partners at the school because it's conducted in a school setting where we can reach the most number of Westwood young people. And lastly, we have used a portion of the funding, and I think this is something we'll be talking more about. It's a great resource for Westwood. So we just signed on for this fiscal year with 6 other communities. So a group of 7 communities each contributed some of their opioid money to contract with Riverside Community Care for recovery coaching that's available to members of all of those 7 communities. So the pooled money pays for 1.4 FTEs recovery coach through Riverside. And then anyone in Westwood of any age can contact, right now you would go through the Board of Health. You can contact Riverside Community Care and their recovery coaching, and you'll be assigned a recovery coach. If your insurance does not cover that, you'll be able to access it for free. If you do have insurance, but you're not quite sure how to navigate getting a recovery coach in place, they will help you to do that. So this is a new resource that's available now to all Westwood residents. And I'm so happy because prior to having something like this, you're really trying to figure it out with each time you hear from a family that is dealing with a substance use disorder or struggling, with someone in their household who's come out of recovery and really needs additional support and isn't able to navigate that system or isn't able to get it with their insurance. So we're so pleased to be able to bring this to the community, and we wanted people to know that it's here now and we can start to access it, and more information will be coming so that everybody becomes really familiar with how to both recommend and connect to this resource.
Yeah. How quickly are you able to facilitate that? Because I imagine when someone's calling, they're in crisis.
Yeah, well, so recovery coaching typically is supporting someone as they might be coming out of hospitalization, right, around a substance use disorder, or they might kind of be entering their journey. So it can be critical. It can also be something that, isn't necessarily critical in nature, but it doesn't mean that we wouldn't want it to be speedy. So what you would do if recovery coaching was something you would need, you would reach out directly to our health director, Jared Orsini, and he would connect you immediately to the clinicians at Riverside in this program. So it would be one call and then getting connected.
Excellent.
Yeah, it is definitely excellent. And there was another part that I was going to say about that, which is that, oh, yes, this is an important feature. So we're using opioid settlement funds, but this is recovery coaching for any recovery that's in process. So in our neighboring communities who have put this into place, alcohol recovery is one of the most frequent calls that they're getting is for recovery coaching around alcohol. It can be any substance use disorder that someone is working through. There's recovery coaching available. So it's not specific to opioids.
You mentioned other communities. You
Yeah.
have examples of others that are enrolled in this?
Yeah, so this is part of our NC8 regional group. So it's 7 communities. I'm going to look to Molly to tell me. I'm always missing one or two, but it's
Yes,
yeah.
it's Canton, Dedham, Medfield, Milton, Needham, Norwood, Walpole, and Wellesley, and Westwood.
That's it. So that's the group that is working together as part of this NCA regional group and pooling their opioid monies for this contract with Riverside.
Excellent.
Yes.
Pat, any concerns from the town council's perspective?
I'm sorry. No, I reviewed the documents some time ago now, and I believe we're good to go.
Excellent. Questions from either of my colleagues?
Yes, thanks, Rob. And Danielle, thank you so much for taking us through that. Thanks for all the work you've already done with respect to the settlement funds we've received, and pleased to hear that these additional settlement funds will be put to the use of Westwood residents. I may have asked a version of this question of you before, but the recovery coach resource is just, I think, really exciting and great for residents. Keeping in mind, we've got about 8 attendees of this meeting right now. What is the plan for getting the word out to residents so that they know that this resource is available for them?
Yes, we're discussing that right now and making plans, but I think that it will be, a multi-prong approach. So one way that's already begun and that we'll continue with is to have all of our frontline staff aware and with contact information and all the details that someone would need, especially our first responders. So folks who might be going to a call for someone who is dealing with an overdose. Or having forged connections with families. So often our first responders have forged connections with families as they have a loved one who's struggling with substance use disorder. So making sure that all of those folks have in hand the information they can give to families for the most immediate connection possible. And then, also it's important to say that Victoria Palmisano, the social worker who is part of a regional contract through our police department, she's someone who would be a great person, right, to have this information. And that would only, amplify the work that she's doing through the police department. So definitely through our first responders, but also through every town department. So every department, I can't think of a department over the years that I've been here that hasn't been touched by a resident or by a household seeking resources and seeking help. So making sure that every department has an understanding of what this is and is able to share it with residents should it come up. The other part is going to be direct to families and households. So making sure that we have information not only available if people are looking, like on our website, but also going directly to them so that that information is on hand in their household and easily accessible. And we've done that with other resources over the years. So all household mailings and things like that, other publications like The Wire, Lina's newsletter through the COA, the recreation, but all these community brochures that we can put the word in, that's part of the media plan.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
I would just add to that we have an internal working group meeting later this month to discuss exactly that. What communication strategies can we use here? And that the opioid funds can also be used for that information sharing. So if we wanted to do an all household mailer, these are funds that we'll have available to do just that.
That's great.
That's right.
No.
And
I think that's good use to get the word out.
100%, yes. I was just going to say that, so this is just what we've done so far. right? This spending has begun, and it's a relatively small portion of the funding. So going forward, we're open and really want to hear from the community and need to hear from the community in order to meet our agreement for use of these funds. So we are looking for input from any community member, especially people with lived or living experience of opioid use, family members and loved ones of people experiencing opioid use or who have experienced opioid use, as well as local service providers, public health, and really anyone in the community who feels that they have input or suggestion on this topic. We'd be happy to hear from them. And I'm saying that here, but we'll also be seeking that out. We have been and will continue. And then any programming we have going forward will meet the criteria that Molly mentioned in her opening, which is to strengthen and supplement our community's efforts around, 4 basic areas: prevention, harm reduction, treatment, and recovery support. And I think we've started off in a really strong way and with the input of community stakeholders, and we look forward to continuing this work.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Joe, any questions that Danielle hasn't already covered in her answers?
I think she's done an excellent job. Riverside is a sleeping giant. They've got some great resources down there. So great that Jared connected with them. I think probably about 6 months ago. So that's wonderful. These are terrible demons for families and for the folks that are afflicted by them. So I applaud your work and wish you the very best.
Well, then I would entertain a motion to help facilitate this.
I'd be happy to do so. For the select board to authorize the interim town administrator, Molly Fitzpatrick, or a designee to complete and sign the opioid settlement participation forms, and for the forms to be submitted to the Office of the Attorney General, Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
I second that.
Excellent. Roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Danielle, thank you very, very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate your time.
Nice work.
Thanks, Danielle.
Okay, next on our agenda is a Fire Station 1 update. As everyone knows, tomorrow is the special election, and I just want to have Molly touch on anything else that the community needs to know with respect to FS1.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to note is what you mentioned in the update. Polls open 7 a.m. at the high school. They close at 8 p.m. Every vote matters, so we hope that everyone gets out and does their civic duty. We wanted to leave this on the agenda. If any board member had any questions that I could help facilitate, I know I see the chief in the wing, so he could jump on too if needed, or just provide a forum if the 3 of you wanted to make any sort of statement before the big day tomorrow.
No, I've already said what I intended to say. I don't know if either of my colleagues have anything further.
I think your comments, Rob, were spot on. It's
Thank
been
you
very
very much.
divisive, and I think you addressed it very well.
Thank you, sir.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. We'll see folks at the polls tomorrow. All right, that moves us to new business, and we are had to have a conversation regarding a fall town meeting, whether we should hold a fall town meeting as established by the charter. We have till September 15th to vote to hold or cancel a fall town meeting. So I don't know if Pat, you are going to lead us, or if Molly, you would like to lead us in this. Who is going to?
I'm happy to give just a brief. So as you just said, the charter requires that the select board decide by September 15th if it plans to proceed with the fall town meeting. This is our last meeting before that deadline. Town departments, boards, and commissions have been contacted to see if there's any need to hold a town meeting in the fall. And at this time, there is no action needed that would necessitate a fall town meeting.
And may I add, Mr. Chairman, nothing prevents you from calling a special town meeting should the need arise.
Thank you very much, both. Questions from either of my colleagues with respect to the need for a fall town meeting?
None for me, Rob.
None
Sorry.
for me.
Okay, but it sounds like we are all fairly aligned on the we can cancel the fall town meeting. So as such, I would entertain a motion.
Happy to do so. I'd like to make a motion, the select board vote to cancel the 2025 fall town meeting per chapter 2, section 6-1, the business session of the town meeting of the town charter.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, Joe.
Aye.
Gesundheit, Marianne,
Thank you.
and your vote.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. All right. Next, we will move to old business, and I believe we have an update with respect to the construction that is going on with the Obed Baker house. I believe we're joined by both Nora and Todd Sullivan, and I thought I saw that Todd might have been joined by his son, but maybe he's dropped off. I don't know. No?
No, Todd's here. He's joined.
All right.
I think he says shows as Bradley.
Ah, that's why. No one is Brad. You're using his technology, Todd. I see.
You got that right.
All right. So, Nora, would you like to take us through where we stand with respect to Obed Baker?
Sure. So you received a letter from Todd last week that explained the modifications that he's requesting you to consider tonight. There are two categories of modification. One is a correction to the land area of the wetlands. When Todd appeared before you in June of 2024 and asked for your approval for his giving back to the town the section of the Obed Baker property that had wetlands, he had estimated at that time that the size of that was 15,500 square feet, and you approved a modified proposal that allowed you to take that land back. There's since been some engineering that has been done, and the size of the wetlands has been found to be larger than that, just under 21,000 square feet. So one of the purposes of this proposed modification would be for the board to recognize the larger area and agree to take that land back as town land. The second has to do with the way that the flexible multiple use overlay district special permit section of our zoning bylaw is the way it's written. It requires an applicant to have a minimum of 50% of the overall property developed for commercial use before they can use up to the other 50% for residential use. And when Todd came to you last year, a little before this in the summertime, he had expected by now to have located tenants for the commercial structure that was being proposed. They're still working on that, so they don't have a tenant. And so Todd is now, today, the way the current proposal is written, he would be faced with building the commercial structure as a spec building in order to use the residential portion of the Obed Baker house. So what this modification does is it proposes an alternative to that, which would allow for a phased development of the overall project. Under this phase development, if the select board is interested in approving this, and then if the planning board also approves it, Todd would be able to first use the historic Obed Baker house for mixed use with residential on the second floor and commercial on the first floor, while he secures a tenant for the standalone commercial building. And then after that standalone commercial building is up and ready for occupancy, then he could go back and convert the first floor commercial use in the Obed Baker house to a residential use. So that building would be fully residential. So it just gives him some other options if this is something that you would be willing to consider. It allows him to continue to move forward. There's already a building permit. He's had a building permit for over a year now for the Obed Baker house, and he's begun work on that. And it would allow him to complete that and occupy that building. Only the second floor could be occupied for residential use at present. He would have to have a commercial use on the first floor, but that could all change after a full standalone commercial building was built later. I don't know, Todd, is there anything you wanted to add or correct? Did I misstate anything there?
I think you're spot on, Nora. Thank you. I just wanted to mention it's tough to build or get a tenant for that commercial building in the condition the lot's in. I gotta clear the lot. I've gotta get the DPW guys moved on. I've got plans to relocate the existing DPW shed. My site contractor is he's gonna cut it into pieces and move it to his yard in Walpole and restructure it. So it's kind of cool. And then I'll be able to tie in the stormwater from the old, really just get going on the project. It's I've got to get that shed off the property, and that's basically where it's at.
Todd,
So
you mean-
yeah, you said it
you
right,
mean-
Nora. Thank you.
You mean prospective tenants are having a difficult time seeing what you envision that property looking like as it stands currently?
Yes, I've got a lot of interest, Rob. Everybody wants to know when they can move in, bottom line, and it's hard to do. The new shed's 90% done. Once the DPW guys are off the property, I'd say within the next month. Then we're gonna move that building, and I want to go full bore. I don't really want to. I want to go full bore. I want to get this project going. I want to monetize it.
We want to help you monetize it, and we want to help start to realize some of the commercial tax base from it as well. So I don't have any questions myself. I don't know if either of my colleagues have any questions with respect to the modifications requested by Mr. Sullivan.
I just wanted to put a finer point on what you just said, Rob. Nora, I assume that from the perspective of enhancing economic development, this is a proposal that you're in favor of?
Yes, absolutely. So I think it allows Todd to move the project forward. It doesn't give up on the idea of the commercial building. It just allows the work to be completed on the historic property first before he pursues that. So I don't have any concerns with that. I do want to just point out, and Mike Perkins, our building commissioner, did go over this with Todd to make sure he was aware. In order to go with this phased approach, not only would the planning department have to the planning board have to approve a modification to the existing special permit, but Todd would face some additional costs for the construction of the Obed Baker House, because it would have to be constructed under the commercial code as opposed to the residential code. So there are a couple of things that are different there. He would need emergency lighting, fire rated walls, ceilings, and floor in the first floor. That would be used for commercial spaces. The overall building could not have PVC piping, so it would have to have copper for water, galvanized steel for sewer. So there are some additional costs, but that allows him to avoid the cost of building a spec building on the commercial standalone building as a spec building, which may or may not work for the tenants that he eventually secures. So there's a little bit of additional costs that would be associated with this, but it may save money in the long run.
Thank you. I'm certainly
Yeah,
in favor. Go ahead.
I did speak with. No, I spoke with, as Nora said, I spoke with Mike Perkins last week. Yeah, so it's really just a change in, like she said, PVC to cast iron on the waste lines and copper from plastic. It is more expensive. It's not that big of a deal.
As I was saying, I'm in favor of the modified proposal, but I would like an update on this, perhaps in 6 months, if I could request that as part of our motion, if my colleagues will second that.
Joe, do you have questions before we move to any type of motion?
I just, a couple of comments. One is, I applaud Todd for his work on this, and if folks haven't seen the garage that he built for the DPW, you should take a minute and take a look at it. He did an outstanding job. This site's been an eyesore since the Obed Baker House came down High Street, so I'm certainly all in favor of anything that we can do to help expedite the process and get this cleaned up, and as you pointed out, Rob, start getting some commercial tax back. But it's been an eyesore too long, and Todd, I think, is very enthusiastic about getting it done. And I agree with Mary Ann, your additional language about an update in 6 months. That's it for me, Rob.
Thank you, Joe. And the only other thing that I noticed that Todd, you've done an outstanding job maintaining a lot of the historical nature of the building as well. I know not everything was feasible, but I think you've done an outstanding job with what I've seen thus far. So with that, I would entertain a motion to allow this to move forward.
I'd be happy to do so. Select Board, I'd like to make a motion for the Select Board to accept Todd Sullivan's modified proposal as submitted and confirm the Select Board's authorization for Todd Sullivan Construction Company LLC to proceed with the Obed Baker House project pursuant to RFP ECON -22-R-003 and as described in the modified proposal dated September 4th, 2025. In addition, an update shall be submitted to the Select Board at a time period not greater than 6 months from today.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call. Joe,
Aye.
Mary Ann,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Nora, Todd, thank you very much for that update. We look forward to hearing from you again in 6 months, Todd.
All right.
Until then, good
Thank you very
luck,
much.
continued progress.
Good luck.
Wishing you the
Thank
best.
you.
Yeah. Good luck, Todd.
All right, next on the agenda, we have appointments and reappointments to boards and committees. And I know we have several. So Molly, would you like to take us through the various folks who have thankfully raised their hand and would either like to be reappointed or join a new board or committee?
I would love to. So we have 3 reappointments and 1 appointment in front of you this evening. Danielle Lipton would like to be reappointed to the Audit Committee for another 3-year term. Jim O'Sullivan and Anthony Antonella Sr. would like to be reappointed for another 3-year term to the, I just lost it,
Council on Aging.
Council on Aging. Thank you. Transpired there. So we'd like to thank Daniel, Jim, and Anthony for their continued service there. Health Director Jared Orsini and I met with Joan Broderick a few weeks ago and would love to endorse her for the appointment to the Board of Health. Joan is a retired nurse and assisted the health department greatly with the contract tracing during the COVID-19 pandemic. Besides those appointments and reappointments, there's a number of board and committee vacancies I'd like to highlight. Those include Conservation Commission, Cemetery Commission, Commission on Disability, Historical Commission, Housing Partnership Fair Housing Committee, Pedestrian and Bicycle Advisory Committee, Recreation Commission, and Westwood Cultural Council. Board and committee vacancies will be updated weekly on the town's website as needed. And I'd also like to note that there is a vacancy on the planning board. The position has been posted on the town's website and on social media and in the wire, with applications due on September 22nd. The joint meeting with the select board and the planning board has tentatively been scheduled for your next meeting, September 29th.
Thank you, Molly. And as I've said in just about every meeting this term, this community can't run without the dedication of time and talent. And we are fortunate to have so many talented people living in our midst. So I would like to encourage anybody who has interest in any of those subject matter areas that Molly just highlighted to please visit the town website and request to be appointed. So with that, are there questions regarding any of these recommendations from either of my colleagues?
Not for me.
All great candidates in my mind, Rob.
Thank you very much. I would entertain what I expect to be a 3-part motion.
I'd be happy to. I'd like to make a motion, Select Board vote to reappoint the following individual. Reappoint Daniel Lipton to serve as member of the Audit Committee for a term to expire on June 30th, 2028.
Well, let's do them individually. Go ahead, Mary Ann.
I second that.
All right, roll call with respect to Mr. Lipton's appointment. Joe,
Aye.
Mary Ann,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well.
I'd also like to make a motion to vote and reappoint the following individual. Appoint Joan Broderick to serve as a member of the Board of Health for a term to expire on June 30th, 2028.
Second that.
Roll call, Joe,
Aye.
Mary Ann,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well.
Lastly, I'd like to make a motion to appoint the following individuals. Reappoint James O. Sullivan and Anthony Antonella Sr. to serve as members on the Council on Aging Board for terms to expire on June 30th, 2028.
I second that.
Roll call on this item, Joe,
Aye.
Mary Ann,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. Thank you, Daniel, Joan, Jim, and Tony Sr. We appreciate your service to our community. Okay, that takes us to liaison reports. I will begin, Joe, with you. Do you have any updates from any of your particular liaison assignments?
Not at this time.
Mary Ann, how about you?
I do not.
Okay, it's been a summer of quiet, so I do not have anything other than to say that the Long Range Financial Planning Committee is going to begin relatively soon discussing a number of other things. But I have not been able to make it to the Environmental Action Committee meeting that was held recently, so nothing new for me there. Okay, that takes us to the approval of meeting minutes. So I would hope that you all had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes that were submitted.
Yes.
Anyone have any comments or changes?
Not for me.
I would entertain a motion with respect to the approving of these minutes.
I'd be happy to make a motion for the Select Board to review and approve the regular meeting minutes for August 7th, 2025 and August 10th, 2025.
I believe it was August 18th, Joe.
You are right. Yep.
And just a point of procedure here, Pat, would you like these done individually so it's cleaner?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a proposal to approve the meeting minutes from August 7th, 2025. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Mary Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Joe, you
I'd
wanna
like
give
to make a
second?
motion for the Select Board to approve the meeting minutes for August 18th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Mary Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Okay, with that, there is no other business that has come before us. So I will be moving us into executive session. So the Select Board will be going into executive session to discuss two issues. The first, pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to a potential litigation involving the property at 665 Clappertree Street. And the second, pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 22FG, to comply with any general law for review of executive session minutes, both of which would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governing body if discussed in open session. We will not be returning to open session. Just want to let people know that our next meeting is Monday, September 29th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. Again, Monday the 29th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session?
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Mary Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Thank you very much, everyone. We will see you on the 29th and see everyone at the polls tomorrow. And my colleagues, I will see you in the executive session in a moment. Have a good night.
Good
all.
night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.